So you've heard about the experiences of those who have served. Well, what exactly is post-traumatic stress disorder? I mean, PTSD occurs when a traumatic event is so severe that it causes lasting changes in the brain. Often the victim doesn't even realize that that experience was so severe to cause that kind of change for months or even years, as you've heard from the experiences here. The symptoms of PTSD include re-experiencing, just as was mentioned, the sounds or the smells that bring that experience back, emotional numbing, the inability really to enjoy life, difficulty sleeping, insomnia, often self-medicating with alcohol or drugs. The Transcendental meditation technique has been studied extensively, and research has shown that it can be very effective in the treatment of post-traumatic stress disorder. Research that was done on Vietnam veterans in the 80s who had returned suffering from combat stress, at that time was called Vietnam Stress Syndrome. Research showed that TM was an effective approach for reducing emotional numbness, for reducing anxiety, for reducing the symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder. Also reduced anxiety, reduced substance use as a way of self-medicating, and reduced depression. In fact, 70% of those that were in that study, after 3 months, said that they no longer needed the services of the Veterans Center where they were attending. We did research recently with my colleague, Dr. Norman Rosenthal, who will be speaking a little bit later, with veterans from these current wars. And what we found, again, within 3 months, very dramatic reductions in the symptoms of PTSD, and also dramatic improvements in quality of life, that these men and women are able to actually return to active life, remember who they really are. In a very short period of time, we were very surprised. Within 4 weeks, dramatic reductions in PTSD symptoms, and then they continued on at measurements at 8 weeks and 12 weeks. This was research that was done, NIH-funded research, that shows, the Army's research shows that those who suffer from PTSD, returning veterans, have a much higher risk of cardiovascular disease, heart attack, stroke, immune system disorders. This study that we see there was funded by NIH, looking over 5 years, comparison of those who received health education to those who were in the TM program, looking at mortality from heart attack and stroke. And what they found was, again, within 3 months, 40% lower risk of heart attack, stroke, or mortality, and among the high stress group, a fairly dramatic 70% reduction. So as I mentioned, the long-term health of those that suffer from PTSD is very much compromised. This is research that was done that shows that over 16 disease categories, and it's all aspects of health, that significant reductions in all areas of healthcare utilization, stays in the hospital, visits to the doctor, and in the area of cardiovascular disease, a very dramatic 87% reduction in stress. So we can see very clearly that there's a strong scientific foundation for the use of the Transcendental Meditation program for treating the symptoms of combat stress and post-traumatic stress disorder. And this is a resource and a tool that can be very beneficial in the various approaches to treating PTSD. So thanks very much.